2020 hit me hard, as it did so many people. Started with COVID, March, trying to take out my business, forcing me to be on a Zoom screen with kids that I had been with in person. May, lost my mom after 3 years of caregiving her. June, lost my building and my home in a fire and was forced out by my landlord. It was the best year of my life. And I know that only in this community, this spiritual community that I am a part of, can I say those words without people going, "Are you crazy? What do you mean the best year of your life?" This is what I know, what Reverend Michael has said. A bad day for the ego, it's a good day for the soul. And 2020 was a good day for my soul, a good year for my soul. 2020 was the year that I really learned to walk in faith. After being a practitioner for 8 years, after saying words every day, words like, "Spirit is working through me for my good." I said those words so many times. But now my faith was being tested. Would I really believe those words, or would I focus on all these circumstances that were swirling around on the outside, trying to draw me in, trying to bring me into a state of victimhood, thinking about things that were happening to me? No. I knew that that wasn't the way I wanted to go. I knew that that wasn't the choice I wanted to make. So I knew I had to either go down or find the way out. And the way out, it was the way in. It was the way in to the presence within me that I knew was there, that I believed was there, and that I could call upon. And so I did. And I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed. And what I prayed for the peace that passeth understanding. I prayed to know that in this circumstance, I was being held, I was being cradled, I was being taught, I was being led, I was being loved in the midst of all of this. And as I prayed, things didn't change on the outside. Spirit wasn't fixing things for me. God is not Santa Claus bringing me what I want. Spirit was working within me to change me, to deepen my faith, to help me to understand how powerful I really was, to help me understand that I wasn't alone, that I could never be alone, that there was a part of me that had never been hurt, harmed, or endangered. And that part of me was God, God within me. Wow, what a wonderful year. Now, I also had my community, and community, thank you, praying for me and with me. And so Spirit began to work within me because I opened myself and I allowed that. And even sometimes when I didn't believe the words I was saying, I just kept saying them anyway. Spirit is working for me, through me, for my good. I am not alone. I've never been hurt, harmed, or endangered. I am more than this. I am so much more than this, so much more than my circumstances. And I began to take my eyes off of the outer circumstances and begin to see the truth, as Reverend Michael says. I begin to see the truth of the power and the presence that holds those grains of sand, that holds those planets in its place. Surely this presence is holding my life in divine right order. And so it is. And so it was. Now, when I became a practitioner, there were certain words, I realized the power of words. And there were certain words that I tried to eliminate from my vocabulary. I did eliminate. And one of them was trying. And I just used that word try again. So I'm not perfect. But the word trying, the word wanting, the word fixing, these were all words that signified that there was something wrong with me, or there was something wrong with my circumstances circumstances that needed to be changed. And I started putting new words in place, words like intending, words like desiring, words like allowing. And so let's look at these words that we're talking about today. The topic is God's got this. Three simple little words, one syllable each. And I think we know what those words mean. But I want to talk about each one of those words because during this week, as I was contemplating what I was going to say today, I wanted to look at these words more deeply. God. What is God? I don't know about some people here, but for me, God was a very difficult word to accept because I wasn't raised with that concept. But I came to understand this presence that holds those planets, this presence that I could feel when I would sit quietly within me, this presence that I could see in the beautiful trees and the birds and everything around me. And I understood that God was not a power outside of myself. God was not Santa Claus who was going to bring me the things that I wanted. God was me, as me, through me, and in me. And so, this, what is this? What is the process by which these seeming circumstances could change? This is spirit working through me for my good. This is myself working in alignment with that which has created me. This is me living the purpose that I have come here to live. And this, what is the this? It's everything. It's me, it's my thoughts, it's my emotions, it's my feelings, it's my actions, it's the circumstances, it's everything that's swirling through my mind, and it's nature, it's beauty, it's joy, it's love, it's peace, it's all of it. And God's got this. God as me has got this, truly got this. So that is my personal experience, but I don't want to just share my personal experience. I always like a service when I go to a service and I walk away with something that I can use, some tools. So I want to share with you some of the tools that I used to help me to walk out of this place of circumstance into this place of faith. And there's 5 of them. The first one is prayer, of course, taking my eyes off of the appearance and focusing on the truth that's within, becoming silent, listening, seeing without eyes, hearing without ears. Prayer, simple prayer. Even when I didn't even believe the words I was saying, I would just say them anyway to myself until spirit would work within me to bring me to a mental atmosphere of peace, of joy, of what I was praying for. Gratitude. To me, gratitude is the how. How is it going to happen? How is this going to come about? How am I going to move away from this problem? By focusing on what I am grateful for. I began to notice how people were helping me. I began to notice how things that I didn't think were going to help me get towards the resolution of the problem began to work together in miraculous ways. And I began to allow the process to take place in gratitude. I just kept being grateful for everything that was showing up. Nature. To me, nature is the healing. To me, nature is where I get to see the creation, the perfection of the creation that is God. And if nature is perfect and I am one with God, then I am also perfect. And if I am perfect, every single circumstance in my life is also perfect. Forgiveness. And this was a big one. Forgiveness. Because the part of me that was angry, the part of me that was upset, the part of me that didn't want what was happening to happen, wanted to blame other people for it. But unforgiveness, as a lot of us have already heard this saying, is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's not going to work. Okay? And so I was the one who was poisoning myself with anger and resentment. And so as I stepped into forgiveness, I had to forgive family members. I had to forgive so many people in my life. And as I stepped into that place of forgiveness, I realized I was forgiving myself. I was releasing myself from my own ignorance, from my own sense of separation, from my own mistakes of trying to do it alone. And a huge space opened in my heart as I forgave. And finally, service. I was so blessed to be able to continue to be in service to my children, to my community, to my family. And as I continued to walk in service, I was treating and moving my feet. And even though I didn't know where I was going, I was on a path. I wasn't just sitting there waiting for God. And God's got this doesn't mean God is going to come in and fix my life. That's like a passive way of waiting again for Santa Claus to come in and do something and bring me something. No, God is working through me, leading me. And so I was walking in faith. I continue to walk in faith. I continue to show up in service. So, prayer, gratitude, nature, forgiveness, and service. Tools, tools that we can use. Now, I want to leave you with a little exercise. I want you to do something with me because, as I said, this is not about me because I am you and you am I am you and you are me. There we go, and we are one, and we are spirit. We are truly God. So I'm going to just do a little exercise with you. So please, everyone, let's just close our eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. Let's do 3 together. Now, if you would, just bring to mind maybe something in your own life that you're wondering, has God really got this? Or you're struggling with? Or you've given to spirit and you've taken it back 5 times? Just bring that little problem into your mind. And just ask yourself, am I willing to let God have this? Am I willing to know that the power that moves the planets can remove this from my life or transform this for my good? And if I'm not willing, am I willing to be willing? Am I willing to consider that there is a way out and that the way out is the way in? And what quality, what God quality can I pray for? Can I open to receive? Something that is already present within me. Is it joy? Is it grace? Is it faith? Oh, and how good it is to know that these prayers are already answered. So I'm going to close with a little continuation of the reading that we had at the beginning from Ernest Holmes, my beloved Ernest Holmes. And then I'm going to pass my word to my beloved Robert. Placing our entire trust, our complete faith, our whole conviction in this simple thought, we should walk in confidence and speak our spiritual convictions with complete assurance, knowing that there is a presence and power with us and for us and operating through us, a presence and power that knows no defeat. And so it is. Blessings, my Agape community. And I pass my word to my beloved Robert Pomonis, who is going to give the second part of our message today.
Whoa, thank you, Bonnie. You always touch my heart and you bring it right to the practical. So thank you for sharing today. What I visioned on what I wanted to talk about today, and I thought what I would share with you is how I ended up here at Agape, a short version. And as I share this story with you, not a story, but as I share this with you, think about what brought you here? What called you to Agape? Something called you. And so as I speak, contemplate what it was for you. My foundation was and is actually religious science, the teachings of the science of mind. And I wasn't raised in any particular religion. So the science of mind and religious science was the first, my first endeavor into practicing a philosophy or religion. And before I go on, I just want to say, I'm so happy to be here with you. So, and just to be here with you today. And I know that you all come from different traditions. Some of you are Christians, some of you are, in Judaism, other spiritual disciplines. So we don't want to throw our foundation out. And I don't either. So, the science of mind teachings are very important to me. They are my foundation. I come from that. But I wanted to share a story where about 2.5 months ago, I thought I'd go to a religious science center because I wanted to hear someone read from the Science of Mind textbook. And I thought, well, I'll go to a center, but not in Oakland. And so I went and I was greeted warmly. And I sat in the back. And the minister, he spoke eloquently. And I was sitting there, and then I heard this like inner voice, and it said softly, like, you don't belong here. And I was like shocked that, what do you mean I don't belong here? And that's what this inner voice said, you don't belong here. And it was like, you graduated. And I was like in a dilemma. And I was feeling kind of frustrated. And then the service was over and went home, and I thought about it. And I was thinking about the metaphysical teachings, and I was thinking about agape, about love and surrender and beholding and the new paradigm, supporting the emergence of the new paradigm. And then, so that was kind of going on. And then I thought, or then I was invited, my wife and I were invited to my niece's confirmation a few years ago at the Catholic church. And we went in, and remember, I wasn't raised in any particular religion. So, and the service started, and I was listening to what was going on the stage. And I happened to look up at the cross and see the statue of Jesus there. And then I heard this voice. I later realized it was my own inner voice, but at the time I didn't know. And this is what I heard, and it was, I want you. And my first response was, what's that voice? But then I said, you can't have me. You can't have me. And I go, I'm not looking up there anymore. And so now I'm going to look just at the stage and what's going on. I'm not looking up there. And then, but I did, and I looked up again, and then I heard that voice again, I want you. By that time, I had tears in my eyes. Tears were coming down my cheeks, and I didn't know what was going on, but you can't have me. And so the service ended, and the next day I sat on our back deck, and I was trying to figure out, contemplate what just happened. And then I realized that when I heard that inner voice where it said, I want you, and I realized it came from the deepest part of myself, my spiritual self, then I could say, I want you too. And when I said that, my heart opened, and it's like the spiritual part of me was calling to my ego and saying, surrender, surrender now. And that process has been unfolding over time. And my heart is opening more and more. And I remember, what do I want to say next? I remember talking to Reverend Joan about it because I felt confused, like science of mind over here, agape over here. And I was kind of in the middle of these two different forms, or this and this. And I was confused. And I called Reverend Joan. I was talking to her. And I said, I don't know what's going on, and she just said, looks like you crossed the bridge from metaphysics to mysticism. As simple as that. And I went, oh. And then I thought, but I don't have to throw away my foundation. No, I don't have to throw anything away. I don't have to leave that. How Goldsmith says, you don't have to leave the metaphysical temple behind you. So I've integrated it with love. And then I remember having a spiritual counseling session with Reverend Joan. And at the end of that session, I opened my eyes. She had done a prayer. And she was staring at me. And love was pouring out of her eyes. They were like sparkling and surrounding me with love. And I know they surround you with love too. And I could swear I saw like little sparkles coming around her eyes. And I didn't say anything to her. I just thanked her for the session and left. And then I sat in my car and I thought, she's the real deal. And I know that you're the real deal, and I'm the real deal, and God's got you. So just be with that, contemplate that. Something called you here today, whether you've been here since the beginning or it's your first time here, something's calling you, and I know what it is. So with that, I want to pass my word back over to Bonnie Sita. Thank you. Peace and blessings. Love you all.